Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sketch Show. My name is Jason Sketch. I'm super excited to bring you guys more Marvel Champions content. Today, we've got more information on the Fear No Evil box, introducing the new Echo Hero. I'm super excited about getting to play her and check out her cards. Let's head on down to the table and check things out. Alright guys, welcome on down to the article. I know I said table in the last part, but it is definitely an article, so I'm super stoked to get to talk about this new hero. We're going to do like we usually do. I'm going to walk through the cards with you guys. I'm pretty stoked about it. I hope you guys are as well. We have 12 cards to look at here. In fact, we didn't get a chance to see a Nemesis kit, I don't believe, and we really just dive into her hero pack a little bit, and then we're going to dive into some aspect cards. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I hope you guys are as well. Let's see what cool things this hero is going to bring. As we get started, I have read through the article already, and for me, it feels like a combo of three different kind of heroes. We've got Gamora, who's going to be focusing a lot on event cards. You're going to have Wonder Man, well, it focuses again on event cards, but tucking those event cards. But then it also feels a lot like Silk, where the tucking mechanic is very similar to Silk's. So we're going to see that as we go along in the article, but let's check out these cards and go through them. So first and foremost, we have Maya Lopez. And she's got a recovery of 3. I really like the art here. It is really cool. I like the idea that she's this ballerina person. I didn't realize she was a ballerina, but it's still very interesting. Her face artwork is pretty stinking awesome with the paint there and the dreads coming down and then like the bun going on. So that's pretty cool. She's our alter ego side, so Maya Lopez. She's a civilian, so that is interesting to see. We can play the civilian cards from the civilian resource cards will work on this side for her if we need them to. But her power is, simply put, practice makes perfect. Interrupt. When you change to hero form, search your deck for an aspect or basic event and add it to your hand. Again, it's interrupt. When you change to hero form, search your deck for an aspect or basic event and add it to your hand. You can look for event cards pretty easily in her kit. Every time you're flipping up, you're getting to go look for those event cards. So, for example, if you're playing a deck like I am with my Wasp deck right now, where you're running that fun card, I can do this all day, and you're flipping up, this is a great card for that because it gives you a chance. I can't find it right now in my stuff here. I can do this all day. This beautiful card right here, it gives you a chance to be able to kind of go into your deck and search it out, especially if you're flipping up to use it for defense or whatever the case may be. If you're playing an aggression deck and you need a specific aggression attack event, you can find it pretty quickly. So this makes me feel like you're going to want to flip back and forth with her quite a bit. Maya can, and then the flavor text says, Maya can recreate any physical movement she sees. So it's like Taskmaster. That's pretty cool. She has a hand size of 6 on this side. She's got some really cool drawn art, and it is a 9 hit point hero. So that's pretty neat. The neat thing you can kind of see here as well is just the way the art comes out of the picture. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, we get to find every time we flip up. So I feel like she's going to be a hero you're going to want to flip back and forth with quite a bit. Nothing wrong with that. Here we are on the Echo side, right? She's a 2/2/2 hero. That's beautiful. 2 stats all the way down. I love heroes like this. It's one of my favorite things. She's got a cool sword. Her art is super awesome. She's bending in the same way she was in that last picture, right? Pretty much the same style, except now she's got 2 swords in her hands. That's pretty cool. I'm hoping that we'll get to see some weapon upgrades then with swords that'll add some benefit for her along the way. But right now, at least the art's really, really neat. Kind of interesting that her foot is coming off the screen there. Is it doing that last picture? Yeah, so it looks like almost like the same design, but a little bit different in her bending style there. The abs, though, those are wild. I wish I had abs like that. She's a defender. So we had the defender trait. That is a thing that's coming out now. She's one of our first defenders we're getting to look at. That's pretty cool. And she's a martial artist. Watch and learn. Response. After a player plays an aspect or basic event, tuck that event under here from that player's discard pile. Then, if there are more than 3 tuck cards here, discard all but 3 of those cards. That's pretty cool. She's getting to use not only events that you're pulling out of your deck, you can stack events underneath her, and she can also play them from underneath her, right? So after you tuck After a player plays an aspect or basic event, tuck this event under here from that player's discard pile. So it can be from any player's discard pile. Kind of like make the call. I can just go, cool. You just played make the call. Let's go ahead and tuck that underneath here, and I will use make the call as well on my next turn, or whatever the case may be. That's just an example, right? Then if there are more than 3 tuck cards here, discard all 3 of those cards. So she can gather and collect these event cards that sometimes might be helpful. Cool. You're playing with a friend, and he's a Justice player, and you need a little more threat removed. He plays a good threat removal card. You can tuck that underneath you here and hopefully get to use it here next. Now, there's a card that lets you do that, right? Because it's weird that we're tucking these event cards. So the next card that we're going to see is this photographic reflexes. And so it is interesting to me that this is an event card and not a aspect card. Or sorry, not a mechanic she can do on her card. You have to play this event card to kick off that thing. But it kind of gives that idea that she's memorizing these moves and practicing them and learning them, and then she's able to utilize them, but she just can't do them all the time. And so you need to make sure you have one of these cards in your hand. And I believe they mentioned in the article that there are 6 copies of this card. So let me go back to the article real quick. All right, so she does have 6 copies of photographic reflexes. I did check on that. It is in the next paragraph of the article, so it took me a minute to find it. But so this card is very special, right? I like the art. I like it's really neat that you have Daredevil and Echo standing next to each other doing this awesome kick. It is a star card, right? So which is interesting. So I guess it's going to kick off as you need it to. It's an event card. If you are in hero form, you can discard photographic reflexes from your hand to play an event tucked under Echo, as if it were in your hand. Reduce the cost to play this event by 2. You cannot trigger Echo's watch and learn ability for that event. So you can't keep essentially her watch and learn ability, which is what she was using in her last card there. You can see it written right here. You can't, once you've played a card from the tucked underneath, you can't bring it back underneath the watch and learn. But still, there's 6 copies of this card in her kit. That's more than, I think, than the Wakanda Forevers in our good friend Black Panther. We'll have to check on that. I don't honestly know. But that is still quite a bit. It seems like a very high, heavy focus on event cards, which means you really need to be having a lot. You need to try to focus on what kind of event she's going to be able to play and trying to circulate the right events tucked underneath her. But getting to do this twice, so if you have some really good resource generators out there too, that's going to super duper help. And so it's interesting, right? Because we do have the Quinn carrier, and that's not going to work to be able to, we can't play it down as a defender. So finding ways around that, build support, or whatever the case may be to get that played is going to be helpful. Kind of feels weird coming off a big Avenger trek moving into defenders, but it is super cool. But this card's going to be super helpful. I'm interested to see how many event cards we can get out there, and the fact that you can reduce the cost by 2. So if somebody plays a full body charge that turn, you can also play a full body charge and get it reduced by 2. That is just super cool. A 2 cost for a full body charge to do 8 damage is stupid good. So I love that. Again, it has to be an aspect or a basic card. Aspect or basic event. It can't be an identity specific event, but still, there's some really good aspect and basic events out there. And there's a lot of combos that you can't even imagine until cards start getting on the table that you can start doing with this amazing card here. If anybody starts, the 2 cost cards are just one thing to think about as well, with the amount of 2 cost cards that you can just tuck underneath her and discard this to play for free. It's so good. Event. All right, so we have another event card, Study the Tape. It is a 0 cost event. It's a tactic. Search any player's discard pile for 1 aspect event, 1 basic event, or 1 copy of photographic reflexes, and add it to your hand. This is so good. Again, this almost becomes a 7th photographic reflexes if you need it to, or if you're like, I think that card that we played earlier is super awesome. Or, for example, you play photographic reflexes, then you have to discard the card that you used, then you play this card to redraw that card and put it in your hand, then reuse it to only get it tucked again to play photographic reflexes on it. That is going to be a crazy combo that you're going to see quite a bit. She's going to be doing some insane stuff, but it's going to feel like a lot of fun, I feel like, circulating through this. It does have flavor text on this. Did I skip the flavor text? Nope, no flavor text over here. I watch tape after tape to train for a fight. Echo. Very cool. This is fun. It's like seeing Shang-Chi in the background here. I'm kind of curious if this is a foreground that we're going to get Shang-Chi as a hero. It also might just be Bruce Lee, and she's watching Bruce Lee. Either way, I still think that's super duper cool. Really liking the black and gray the more I look at this too. I just think she's going to be awesome. I'm pretty excited about her, just the basics we're looking at her so far. It is a mental resource. Another card that's going to come in her kit as well is this upgrade card, which is American Sign Language. You exhaust this card to generate a wild resource for an event being played by any player, which is so good. So if you're like, cool, I've used everything, I've got a wild resource for anybody to utilize. It's so good. This is insane. In your hero kit, to have a wild resource that you can use for anybody else to play event cards, this is good. This is so good. I'm super stoked for this resource generator. It's going to work. I mean, obviously, you're going to use it a lot for yourself, but you could get a couple of turns where you're like, I have a couple of 2-cost events that I want to use tucked underneath me. I'm going to pop both those out with photographic reflexes. I have this American Sign Language too, if you'd like to use that American Sign Language. Play an event. That is super duper cool. Only for that event, that's if it's a good event, to get it tucked underneath yourself to utilize later. I feel like in multiplayer, you're going to be focusing on what is these events that everybody else is playing and trying to navigate that. She's going to be a very interesting hero to really play. I think protection is going to be a solid spot for her too, especially if you're playing things like I Can Do This All Day, that we talked about earlier, just thinking about protection, right? So you use that, I Can Do This All Day, you tuck it underneath yourself, then you flip up with a Ready for a Fight, you discard photographic reflexes to use I Can Do This All Day again. Or if you played I Can Do This All Day, you get it tucked underneath yourself, and then you have a photographic reflexes in your hand, you can do that again for another I Can Do This All Day. Oh my gosh. She's going to be so much fun. And that's just thinking about protection, right? For aggression, circulating through a lot of attack events. Justice, you're going to be taking a lot of threat, especially if you can get a lot of thwart removed. Threat removed. I mean, there's just the one that comes with Jubilee that removes 6 threat if you use one different aspect for each payment cost. This covers one of those costs. And then if you took it underneath her, well, I guess you have to, so you get one more set of 2 out of that. Paying a 1 cost for 2 more threat removal isn't bad. So there's lots of fun things you can do. I'm kind of excited to play her in all aspects and just see how well she plays. Just looking at these cards that we're seeing here, a very event-heavy player myself, so this is very exciting to see that we're just going to be focusing a lot on events and not trying to get all the 75 upgrades down. Oh, and flavor text. Sorry, needs help. Need help? Question mark. Echo. Translated from ASL. So I think that's pretty cool. Again, this is just a soft reminder that she is a deaf character and using ASL along the way. Now her signature ally, Daredevil. Dude, this art is sick. I like this a lot. I don't know what comic they pulled it from, but this is really cool. I don't know what's going on with like the red behind him here. He's got some like sort of tassels that are coming off him right now, but the rest of his suit here, this is a very cool picture, and it is Matt Murdock Daredevil, so we're not looking at Elektra Daredevil or anything like that. This is a Matt Murdock Daredevil. That means you cannot play the Matt Murdock Daredevil in your kit, the Justice one, but who needs it when you got this one? It is a 2/2, 3-cost ally, has 3 health points, Defender and Martial Artist. So again, we got now the Defender trait, so I'm kind of hoping we get a lot of cards that'll bounce off being a Defender in the basic aspects. We'll see how that all plays out. But after Daredevil uses a basic power, reduce the cost of the next event you play by 1. Follow my lead is his flavor text. And as a wild resource, so you get to do this 3 times. On top of that, Daredevil uses a basic power to reduce the cost of the next event you play this round. So not only are you, with photographic reflexes, are you reducing 2 costs on a card, he reduces a 3rd cost on a card, making it even better along the way. That is super duper awesome. Making your events way cheaper for you to play. I love it. I love it. Daredevil, you're going to be awesome. He's a solid fit what he does plays really well. He's going to be a great one for some cameos and some other kits too, because of the fact that he can just reduce the cost of the next event you play by 1 after he uses a basic power. So not only that, he's using a basic power. Oh, but it's only thwart and attack, so the defending is in a basic power for him. Dang it, I was just getting excited about that for a second. But even then, he's going to clear 2 threat or do 2 damage for 3 costs. This is a fantastic ally. This is like almost not quite Moon Knight level signature ally, but very, very close. And the art, I feel like this is going to be one that I'm going to want to see on the table quite a bit. Improvisation. Your response. After you play an event, if it has the following traits: attack, heal 1 damage from Echo, remove 1 threat from a scheme if it's defense, or thwart, deal 1 damage to an enemy. That's pretty cool. That's actually super awesome, and it is an improvisation, so it's an upgrade. So multitasking may be in her kit already. If not, it's going to be something we're going to probably see in her kit, and that's the card from Jubilee that does both threat removal and... there's a lot of cards, actually. There's a couple, but that's one of the ones I can think off the top of my head that does threat removal and attack. So it does them both. So you're going to run that to just basically get to heal for damage, which is super awesome, and to deal 1 damage to an enemy. That's really, really nice. That is a really, really cool card. I don't know if multitasking is going to be the best fit, but it adds benefits along the way, I guess. So there's going to be some other cards out there that let you do that. I think there's the one with like Gamora on it, diving from the sky. And then it's the same card. A hit and run. Hit and run might be a good card for this as well. Again, those are basic events, and so there may be some better ones in aspect that both defense and attack, or attack and thwart, whatever the case may be. You're still getting to do some pretty good stuff here, especially getting that 1 threat removal from a scheme. This is going to be a great card for solo when you're playing those defense cards as a protection player. I believe this is the last hero card we're going to get to see. So her hero kit's pretty well revealed. If there's 6 of those improvisation cards, let's see. Let's go back and look. So we're going to have 6 of these. So we don't know what her number one card is, but we're assuming from 2 on. That's 2 to 8. This is going to be these photographic reflexes. Or 2 to 7, excuse me. Then number 8 is this study tape. So that's a chunk of cards there. That's 9. That's 8 cards right now. Then we've got this American Sign Language, which Daredevil's in there somewhere. So that's number 11. So we're missing... That's number 1. Okay. So we are missing... Currently, we have 8. We're missing 9 and 10. 12, 13. And then we have 15. And so that, and along the way, we've got a good portion of her kit already laid out. So we're missing like 4 cards from her kit, which means they're going to save them for reveals later, right? Because they like to do that. So we'd probably have her whole kit revealed probably before she releases here in July, which we've got May right now is coming up. So I imagine we'll start seeing some of those announcements about what we should be expecting for these hero kits from YouTubers and podcasts and different things. By the way, FFG, we would love to do one on Sidekicked or, here on Jason Sketch's channel, whichever you guys feel is best. And we'll get to see more of those along the way. So we've got a good portion of her kit out, though. That's pretty neat to see. I'm super excited for that. All right, so we're going to jump into these aspect cards. Whew, these are the ones I'm super excited for, too. All right, we've got Army of One. And these are interesting, right? Because as we start reading these cards, you're going to notice it says very specifically, increase the cost to play this card by 1 for each ally you control. And I feel like having or not having allies is going to be a theme for a lot of the cards we're going to see along the way. But I feel like this fits in our kit really well. By the way, that is Echo. I believe that is Echo or Elektra in the Daredevil costume. Of course, it says Daredevil, right? So we don't know which one it is. I want to say they're probably using Echo, but it may be Elektra that we're seeing here. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. But, so it increases by 1 for each ally you control, but you can use it to ready your hero. Which makes me really want to run a protection kit where I don't rely on allies at all, and just focus heavily on playing this card. Or playing the cards that don't require a cost upgrade for having allies. I think that'd be very interesting. So I don't think I'm curious if we're gonna have any other ally cards in her kit because of these cards. I like the flavor text here. It says 2 versus 1 is not a fair fight for you, Daredevil. That's fun. Cool. Next is, and I'm excited to see this, is Get Their Attention. It is a picture on there, and we're seeing all these Guardians on there. Do we get to see some Guardians come back to the game? Are we going to be getting some more Guardians in the game soon? Is this a hint, or is it just because it was a cool piece of art? Either way, this is a defense and thwart card. Okay, so let's go back and read this. This has none of those on there. But this one is going to work really, really well with her card that we just saw that upgrade where it requires 2 different traits, or requires traits to have some effects on that upgrade. This one has 2 of those traits, so you can get 2 benefits from it for her specifically. Hero Interrupt. When an enemy initiates an attack, remove 3 threat from a scheme. This I like a lot. For protection, I think this is a great card for protection. Especially for her, if it's tucked underneath herself there, you have her have this card tucked underneath Echo, it's going to play for free. Just straight up play for free. Removing 3 threat from a scheme. That is super duper helpful. And it doesn't impact maybe your next turn. So, that is awesome. I'm going to like this, especially if somebody else plays it, then because I can hold on to it so that I can use it myself as well. But, the flavor text is Rocket Raccoon and Gamora. So, I guess it's Rocket and then Gamora. Think we made them mad? What do you mean, we? I like it. That's a fun flavor text. This card, the art's very fun and interesting. I do like seeing Drax in his cape there. The enemies do seem a little upset. It's a lot of fun. I wish I knew what was going on in this comic. I'll have to find what issue that came from. But that's really, really neat. Got 2 more cards left. In Harm's Way, we get to see Ronin. And this looks like Hawkeye, maybe, as Ronin, but there's a lot of Ronins out there, as we've talked about on Sidekick quite a bit. There's a lot of characters that have been the Ronin before. So this is another attack and thwart, so it's going to work well for her because you're going to get combos built off of being an attack and thwart card. And they increase the cost to play this card by 1 for each ally you control. So if you have 2 allies out there, it's going to cost you 5. If you have 1 ally out there, it's going to cost you 4. But hero action, attack thwart. Deal X damage to an enemy and remove X threat from a scheme where X is your defense. And I was talking with Earth Twister and Levi a little bit earlier today. If you play specialized training and you get defense specialists out there, you're going to get up to 3 plus 3 defense. So you can already, with her, be at 5 defense. And then there's a card coming up here soon that could potentially put you at 4 defense, plus 4 defense, which is crazy. Because again, I'm thinking like Armored Vest and Defensive Conditioning. There may be some other ways to upgrade your defense and get them higher along the way. That is super duper awesome. I'm trying to think if like one of the get plus 2 defense cards are going to impact this card, but it's not. Because you do X damage based on your current defense. So you want to try to beef up your defense a lot, which is the way I like to play. So having a high defense on my character already before moving on to the next thing. That's really, really cool. I think Gambit's going to really like this card. If you do X damage to an enemy. Ooh. Okay. So you're not only... for Gambit, right? I know this is a little off topic, but Gambit. You're dealing X damage to an enemy where X is equal... and remove X threat from a scheme where X is equal to your defense. Well, since it's an attack card for Gambit, let me know what you guys think. If I spin the card thing on there, and I've already got a defense of like 6... I spin 3 more. I know for sure I'm doing 9 damage. Does it also let me clear 9 threat from somewhere? This just gives me the tingles. I like this a lot. In Harm's Way, this is really, really cool. When I first saw this card earlier today, I was like, eh. But now the more I look at it, I'm more like, actually, that's super fire. For 3 costs and potentially getting up to 9 for Gambit. Even 10, depending on what comes up next with this next card. Just based alone by having defense cards on your upgrades on your kit. Oh, this is awesome. I am super excited for this card. Actually, for it being a 3 cost, and then on her, if it's tucked underneath her, it's costing you 1 to play it. If you have no allies, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. So, all right. I think the next card is probably my favorite card of the entire reveal. I'm super excited for this card. And it's not like a very impressive card. Just the title alone is what makes me excited. Ronin. Ooh, this is super cool. So I think she was probably Ronin first. And she was doing Ronin things, at least from my recollection, in the new Avengers series before Hawkeye becomes Ronin. And Hawkeye only runs with Ronin for a while before he kind of gets clear headed after dealing with the trauma of being dead then coming back alive and being killed by a friend who also brought him back to life. That's a story for another time. But this Ronin card here is super cool. It is a unique card, so only one person on the table can be a Ronin. So you can't have more than one Ronin on the table. While you do not control an ally, while you do not control any allies, your hero gets +1 defense and gains Retaliate 1. This is so exciting to me. I am Ronin, the samurai with no master. It's a mental resource, so if you're playing it in Wasp, you can cycle it back in. This aspect card is probably going to be the one you're going to see me play quite a bit, especially in Protection. I don't really run many allies when I play Protection, just because I like defending and moving forward and kind of progressing that way, especially when I'm at a big table like that. If I'm playing a 4-player game, you really don't need to have your allies out if you can do all the defending yourself. And so this card is going to be super duper fire. It's going to cost you 1 to get it on the table to get +1 defense and retaliate. And it just means you're not going to play your allies, which isn't terrible. I don't think in the long term, depending on who your allies are and if they're crucial to your kit. But even if you are running, let's say you're running with allies, cool. You chump block with one ally. The one ally you have out on the table, it dies. You get your +1 defense back and you retaliate 1, and you can utilize that to take on some other big things along the way. So, and it may fit better in a large game like that to play an ally down, let it chump block, defend, move forward. So there's a lot of cool combos you can pull off with this, but the fact that now almost any hero can become this Ronin and get +1 defense and retaliate, it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. But it is a protection card. So that's the only thing that makes me sad, but I still really, really like it. It's probably my favorite card of the entire set. Last but not least, we have a basic event card. So it is not an aspect card, it is a basic card. And it is the team up card for Daredevil and Echo. See no evil, hear no evil. It costs you 2. Attack and thwart. So this is going to work really, really well for her again. She kind of gets to get that benefit off of her upgrade if this card gets played on her turn. Hero action. Choose 2 of the following. You may choose the same option twice. Deal 3 damage to an enemy or remove 3 threat from a scheme. So you can use it to clear 6 threat, or you can use it to do 6 damage, or do 1-on-1. That is really, really neat. I don't think it's the best team up card in the world, but it's not absolutely not the worst. It does actually seem like a super helpful card. For 2 cost, it's not bad. And then if you play it with her and it has that upgrade down, you're going to get a benefit of 1 health back and do one extra damage because of the thwart. So, really, really cool. I'm sad this article's already over, but we got to get on with our lives. And so this is really neat. I think it's super duper cool. I think Echo's going to be a lot of fun. I was not sure how I felt about Echo when she was first announced. I was like, cool, Daredevil's going to be super exciting. Everybody's going to love Daredevil, and they're going to think he's super duper cool. But Echo, I wasn't sure about. And now that I've looked at her cards and I've read how her cards are going to play, and she's going to function a lot like Taskmaster, and you're copying moves, and you're getting better at things along the way, and you're getting to play events for cheaper, and it's a tucking mechanic, and it's going to be a lot more thinking along the way of, all right, what event cards do I really want to tuck and keep around and hold on to and utilize at the right times is going to be nice. You need to be conscious with this hero too, because if certain event cards are necessary for your friends to use and they want them to stay in their kit, you're going to want to use them pretty quickly. Otherwise, it's not going to cycle in at the times they need them to cycle in, and that can get frustrating. But if you're doing this as a solo player or you're not focusing on stealing other people's events that much, then more power to you. So I'm kind of curious if she's going to do multiplayer because again, that part of I'm taking your event so that way I can utilize it later is fun for you, but you got to be conscious if it's going to be fun for your friends as well. I like the way they've designed her though. I think the design is really really good, and I may be overthinking like, oh cool, you just still might make the call, you know, like yeah, but now she gets to make the call for an ally coming in, or bring back that ally you just lost. Hope you made the call for somebody else. Now she gets to make a call. There's just a lot of benefits that can be done along the way. Again, make the call may not be the best choice of cards here, but I really think she's going to be a lot of fun. She's definitely a move in, move fast type hero. She's not going to be one that you want to sit there forever and build up on. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to focus heavily on getting as many event cards as she can and then doing some really cool stuff with those event cards. So getting her set up quick is going to be important. Getting that resource card out is going to be important for her. Her sign language resource card, which I imagine will probably be 2 of those. And then getting her, which is going to be wild. If there's 2 of those, you're basically playing things for free. That's actually nice. I'm just imagining this hero, and I am super stoked and excited for it, and I hope you guys are as well. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'd love to talk to you more about it. I was not that excited for her, and now I think she's just going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to play with her kit. I mean, she may surprise me and just may not be as fun as I think, but we'll find out. I think she's going to be a lot of thinking, and I'm running in circles now. So thank you guys for watching. As always, my name is Jason Sketch. Next time I'll be deadly serious next time. Peace.